Hold on, I'm broadcasting.
Oh, well, I guess
We are live.
it's
We're
a
live,
live business.
people. You can
I'm
ask.
like,
Go ahead.
basically, like, what I've done is I've kind of like stared at I've stared at the pr- um, the chart for the diagnostics a little bit, but I've read kind of the chapter summary, but I don't ask me questions as if I have like thoroughly gone into the chapter of the Hophal,
Okay, that's fine.
and I haven't even touched the week stuff.
That's perfectly fine. I have a slight feeling that all of the people present are in the same boat. So it will be okay. And it'll make for incredible tutoring because you can do it right now.
There you go.
See?
You a mess, Alyssa. You're just messy. Just messy.
It works. It'll just work out better for everyone this way. So don't even worry about it.
Awesome.
All right, so first thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is how those quizzes are graded. Because I know that a lot of people have questions about the grading scale and how you're getting the grades that you're getting and how the points are tallied or whatever. And so the first thing I'm going to tell you is that all of the quizzes are totally different with the grading scale. I mean, it's you find it the same way, but it's based on points, and so based on the number of questions there are, and then the grading scale is set based on that.
Right.
And so they're all out of different points. So you couldn't look at them and say, well, if I got -5 on this one and got an A, I can get -5 on the next one and get an A, because it doesn't work out that way.
Right.
Okay? So first, you typically have diagnostics on a quiz. Anytime you have diagnostics, you either get the entire diagnostic right or all of it wrong. So you could put like the kibbutz of the, I can't think of what it is, the kibbutz of the pual, but forget the dot. And if you forget the dot, then the whole thing is wrong.
Right.
Okay, which is why when I do see that any of them are wrong, I try and write in everything that you needed for that diagnostic. It can also be wrong if you have the right diagnostic, but you have it shifted into the wrong stem consonant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So diagnostics are 1 point, and they're either all wrong or all right.
Right.
Then you have parsing. And parsing is kind of the most confusing, but each parsing line is worth 1 point. And there was, I think in the first half of the semester, she was giving half credit. So you could get 2 things wrong and just get -1/2 in the line, or 1 thing wrong and get -1/2 in the line. But now, if any part of the parsing is wrong, the whole thing is wrong. Okay? So that, before I go on with the rest of the grading, brings me to my next question. What are you supposed to include in the parsing? Tell me all of the things that you're supposed to put in the parsing.
The stem,
Conjugation.
Stem, conjugation,
Number. In the lexical form.
person, gender, number, and the lexical form. So those are the 4 main things. You need all 4 of those things. And what else?
You mention it if there's a Vav consecutive going on.
If there's a Vav consecutive, you need to put that down. What else?
Pronominal suffixes.
Yes, you need to mark pronominal suffixes, and you need to tell what their person, gender, number is as well. And what else? Inseparable prepositions. There's a la, ba, or ka attached to your verb. You need to mark that as well. So, technically, if you forget any of that, the whole parsing is supposed to be wrong. I have, when I've been grading, just been taking half off if you forget the pronominal suffix, the Vav consecutive, or the inseparable preposition. But I don't know that I'm supposed to do that, but I did. So, yes, you have a question. I see you.
maybe I'm the only one, but really? We supposed to be doing all that?
No, you're not, which is why I was only taking half off when I was supposed to be taking all of it off, because there was about half the people that didn't seem to realize that they needed to include all of that in order to get credit for it.
I mean, okay, because the pronominal suffix and the inseparable preposition part, yeah, that's okay. Got it. It's in there now.
Good.
Sorry.
So,
Said that.
and then, what? Sorry?
Good to know. I'm glad you said that. I do want to ask, like, that really those like adding inseparable prepositions and pronominal suffixes and verb consecutives are only going to appear when we have like a translation and there's kind of a parsing to do as part of the translation.
Yes.
Like, I've typically just ruled that out as a possibility when it just has a word parse and then lists.
I wouldn't, because sometimes she does put
She does
the
put
verb consecutive on there, and she hasn't in a while, but sometimes she does put the inseparable preposition and pronominal suffix. Those ones she does less often, and you do see them a lot more in translation.
right.
But they do come up every now and then. I haven't in like the last 3 or so quizzes seen it, but
Right.
it will be there.
Cool. Good to know.
Just be aware of it. And the other thing, I had some wonderful friends on this quiz parse for the translation, but not include the lexical form. And I don't remember. I don't think I may have taken all the way off for that, or I may have done half, or I may have done half and half because it was right. It just wasn't all right because the lexical wasn't there. And so I want to remind people, I know that she doesn't list up at the top everything that you have to include, but everything that you have to include includes everything. You need the stem, you need the conjugation, you need the person gender number, you need the lexical form, and you need any of that extra information. Pronominal suffix and its person gender number, verb consecutive, and the inseparable preposition. So you could potentially have a verb where you have to give 7 pieces of information. And I need all 7 because technically I'm supposed to make it all wrong if it's not there.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what if you have all 7 and like you got? Hey. Sorry, that was my Nala. Come on, baby. So put her outside. So what if you have all 7 pieces of information, but a piece of it is wrong? Does that make the whole thing wrong as well?
Technically.
Okay. Just making sure.
Okay.
So the grading is getting a bit more strenuous, basically.
Yes, the grading is getting a little stricter. Yeah.
Very well.
Okay. Which also, since we're still talking about
Go.
parsing, I need, can you guys remind me the lexical form of third hey and third aleph verbs? What vowels are supposed to be in that?
Double commas. Go.
Double commas.
Wait, so, okay.
Don't forget that, because your lexical form needs to have the correct vowels.
Gotcha. Okay. And so the only exception is in third hey and third aleph. There's double commas.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. There's something else. Okay, this is not. This isn't a huge deal, but you could potentially get points off if, say, I wasn't grading the quizzes. You need to put down your final forms. When you're spelling out your lexical verbs, like the lexical of the verb, if there's a final form consonant that goes at the end, like a kaf or a noon or something like that, or a tsade has a final form, you need to use those when you're spelling out your lexical forms. Okay? That's like way back in the beginning, and it's still the same consonant. It's just kind of a nitpicky thing.
Sure.
Okay? Okay, so you've got the parsing and how those points work. Then
Right.
there's translations on your quizzes, and for the translations, each word of the translation is worth 1 point. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember the quiz that you just took with that translation, there was a little note up there that said that it was worth 11 points. It's
Right.
because there were 11 words, and what she's doing is if there are words that are connected by a makif, she's counting that as one word. Okay? You can, okay, so hold on. That translation was 11 points, but then there were 4 verbs, and so you have 4 verbs to parse, so there was 4 extra points for the parsing for that. So basically that whole translation and parsing is worth 15 points. Okay? And that same kind of construct would apply to any other translations with parsing that you have. So with translation, you can get partial credit for your translation. I can give you, if you are writing down, I don't care if you write down only the words that you know and put blanks everywhere else, I can give you credit for those words. So just put them down. Okay? And you can also get credit, like partial credit for a word if you have the right vocab, but it's not inflected the right way. Like if it was supposed to be imperfect, but you made it sound like a perfect, I can give you half credit for that word. So still do it. And if it was supposed to be singular or plural, then, or it's supposed to be singular, but you put plural, I'll give you half credit for that word. Okay? So put everything down that you can, but pay attention to little things like that, like singular, plural, whether, like how you're supposed to translate it, because you're parsing the verbs correctly sometimes and then translating them as if you didn't parse them. Don't forget what you know about the right way to translate after you've parsed a verb, and just put it all together in your translation, because you can.
Right.
Okay? Translation sections are actually a really good place to get points. Even if you feel like you don't know what any of the words are, chances are you're going to know at least half of them. And you just put those down. Okay?
I did have a question. When is Genesis translation stuff going to start showing up more?
Say it again.
When is the Genesis translation stuff going to start showing up more?
It is, you have, did you see the email that I sent?
I did see your email from earlier today.
Okay, so from what I see, you have 2 more quizzes, and these particular quizzes are on Hophal and then the Hophal, and then you're done, basically, with the book, except for the informational stuff, I think, which is in the last chapter, but you're not going to be tested or quizzed on that. So after that, that will take you into your last class weekend. I'm assuming in your last class weekend you're going to be going through Genesis 22 and the 2nd Samuel.
Right.
And then you don't have anything until the final. And the final is where she's actually going to be testing you on those 2.
Maybe I actually, I don't know. Is it put somewhere that we're supposed to do little sections of the Genesis translation and the Second Samuel translation every week? I'm just wondering, maybe was this last quiz, was that from the Genesis translation? Maybe I'm indicting myself.
Can I just something? There's like a weird feedback when you're talking, and I don't know if it's because of my volume or your volume, but I only kind of hear what you're saying, so can you speak in?
Yeah. Is that any better?
Hold on, let me see. Hey, Kieran, can you turn the volume down a little bit on yours? Just on your microphone, I think. Yeah. Now try.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Keep going. I want to see if there's a feedback.
Check.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Ask your question.
What I was asking is, should I, and maybe this actually from this quiz 10, this was what this was, but should I be anticipating seeing quizzes having parts of the Genesis and Second Samuel translation on there?
Probably not at this point.
Okay.
It'll be more translations that are focused on these last two chapters.
Right.
So you have quiz 11 and you have quiz 12.
Right.
And then as far as the rest of the quizzes are concerned, the rest is concerned, your Genesis and your Samuel will be more on the final.
Okay. Cool.
So I would focus on these last 4 chapters for the next couple of weeks. And if and when you have extra time, use Genesis and 2 Samuel to kind of help you get some of the Hebrew to sink in.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have a lot more time in the last 3 weeks before, it's 3 weeks before your final to really be going through those translations. And I'll probably go through some of them as well during tutoring and then figure out what other kinds of review we need to do just based on your last 2 quizzes and what the majority of people are confused about still.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, so still with grading, last thing. Oh, okay, so when you have paradigms, which won't come up on the last 2 quizzes, but will probably come up on your final, all of the paradigms are never worth more than 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
So you get, anytime there's a vowel that's wrong or something like that, it's a point off. And so the good thing about it is you can only get 5 points off on your paradigm no matter how much of it you mess up.
Mm-hmm.
But the not so good thing is anytime the vowel is wrong, it's a point off. And you only get 5 points for it.
Cool.
Okay? So you'll want to really focus on those paradigms. Maybe not 100% right now unless it's going to help you, which it will, on your translations or things like that so that you're able to parse correctly. But when you get to the final, there's more than likely going to be a good deal of paradigms that she's asking you to reproduce.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's like going back even to like the participle paradigms and the imperative paradigms, like all of the paradigms, and the majority of them you did in Hebrew 1. So it's just making sure you have all of those vowels correct.
Cool.
Okay? So does that make sense with the grading? It's all on the point system and how many points everything is worth, that sort of thing.
Right.
Okay. So you could take a look at your quizzes and try and kind of figure out what the scale was, and you'd have a pretty good idea. So she takes the total amount of points, and then she divides that amount of points by 2. And so whatever the halfway point is, anything half points or lower is an F, and then she divides the points. She divides the points for the A, B, C, and D.
Cool. And
Okay.
I assume all quizzes are worth the same amount.
What?
All quizzes, they may have be graded by different points, but they're all worth the same amount.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so you would basically, like if you're trying to figure out your grade, for example, you assign points to them based on the letter grade. So if you have an A, that's 4 points, B, it's 3 points, C, it's 2 points, D is 1 point, and you just add up all those points and divide it by the total, and don't forget to drop your lowest one, and you can figure out your average that way.
Cool.
Okay?
All right.
All right. So that's the grading, and you guys know everything to include in your diagnostics. You're not going to forget any part of that, right?
In your diagnostics.
No, I don't mean diagnostics. Sorry, I just read that. I mean parsing.
Yes. Inseparable prepositions, pronominal suffixes, if there's a verb consecutive, PGN, stem, conjugation, lexical form.
Good. All of it. Every time. No matter what.
Awesome.
No matter how much space you have, even if it looks like there's no place to write, parsing down, even if she doesn't put headings up at the top to give you an idea, you just know in your head. All of those things, every time, parsing is the same. I need all of that information.
Cool.
Okay. So, let's see. Okay, and then also just point of review for everyone. A lot of people seem to have a mental block about Hophal diagnostics. They're remembering all of the other diagnostics, the new ones, the old ones, all of that, but for whatever reason, Hophal is just like seeping out of your brains when you're sitting in front of a quiz. And I'm only saying that because it's over half of you regularly are confusing the Hophal. And so you should all practice your Hophal diagnostics because they're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it's easy to forget them because they're earlier and they're one of the first direct stems that you learned, and I get all of that. However, they're still not going anywhere, and they'll still be on this quiz and the next quiz and the final after that.
Cool.
Okay? So practice them. And, all right, there's that. Okay, so then now we can go on to Hophal. So Hophal, this week we're doing Hophal Strong and Weak. And so it's chapters 32 and 33. That's what this quiz is going to be on. And from what I'm understanding, because of your class this weekend, you haven't really looked at this chapter at all yet.
Right.
And that's fine because it's actually one of the shorter ones. You don't have as many diagnostics as normal as you're responsible for, because the Hophal stem is the most infrequently used stem that there is. So that can either be a really good thing when you're learning, or it can be really frustrating when you're translating because it hardly ever shows up, so when it does, it can throw you off.
Right.
So the best thing to do is to just pay attention to your diagnostics, and like I've been saying, it hasn't really changed. Don't expect to be able to look at any parsing and just pull it out of your head without having to look at your diagnostic sheet. Just write down all of your diagnostics before you take the quiz. It makes such a huge difference. Even if she's asking for the diagnostics on the quiz, before you even do that, just write them all out in the format that you're used to so it looks really familiar and you don't forget what anything's supposed to look like, because it's also a really visual kind of chart. And so if you can just put it all out in front of you and then go through, it's going to be a lot easier, and that's going to be easier for you to diagnose the Hophal, which you hardly ever see. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the Hophal is the passive of the Hophal. And so if that's the case, then it's going to have the same action and the same voice as the Hophal. So what is its action and what's its voice?
Causative action, passive.
Its voice is passive.
Right. Causative action and passive voice. Okay? So when you have the Hophal, how do you make something translate as causative? So if you had katal in the Hophal, how do you make that causative?
He was made.
He was caused to kill. He was caused to kill.
Yeah, for Hophal, because that's going to be active. It's he caused to kill.
Right.
So for Hophal, which is causative passive, how would you translate that? Same thing.
He was caused to kill?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or he was caused to kill. Something like that. It's easier with a different verb. Like, let's see. What's a good one? Okay. The one that's on page 368. right in 32:2, that section, they give the example of with the Hophal verb for Melech, to make king. It would be he caused, like basically he caused to make someone king, or he made someone king. And then Hophal is he was made king. Okay. So do you remember how you make something passive?
Like it means that the verb, like the subject is receiving the action instead of performing it on the object.
Right. And so you need to make, you need to add a to be verb, and then you need to make, just add ed. Okay? So let's see. Do they give you more examples? Yeah. There you go. Made or he was made. Kind of works that way. Does that make sense, though?
Right.
Okay. So you have, then with the Hophal, you only have perfect, imperfect, and participle.
Mhm.
Those are all of the ones that you need to know the diagnostics for, but each of them have two options for diagnostics, because with the Hophal there's O-class diagnostics and U-class diagnostics.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either going to have a Kametz Hatuf, which would be the O-class diagnostic, or it's going to have the Kibbutz, which is going to be the U-class diagnostic.
Yeah.
And any verb can take any vowel pattern for the Hophal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but again, it really doesn't come up that much. So this would be probably one of those derived stems that you're never going to be, unless you start translating all of the Old Testament and that becomes your life's work, you're never going to be 100% comfortable with it because it just doesn't come up that much. So this is going to be honestly a diagnostic that I would just tell you to write down every single time. Even if you get really comfortable with the cal and the nifal and the pl and blah, 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 and you don't have to write those eventually, always write this one because it just hardly ever comes up and you're not going to immediately trigger what it is when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So really the big thing that you need to know for the diagnostics for the strong is that you have to be able to put down the U class and O class. And so if you look at page 372, can you see that?
Yeah.
They have them side by side. And so it just depends on how this is going to work for you, like which way you want to put it in your diagnostic sheet. On mine, which is really, like, it's just kind of really hard to read because there's lots of food and drink on it, but can you see the Hophal one? I just have them above and below
Mm-hmm.
for all of it.
I see that.
So whichever way is going to make the most sense, just do it that way.
Okay.
Okay? So, and also you don't have any assignments. Did you guys notice that you don't have any assignments for the last 4 chapters?
Yeah, I was actually going to confirm that because that sounded too good to be true.
Yeah, that's basically because you know how she's been requiring that you have the homework done by the weekend, and it's part of your participation/homework grade.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any for the last weekend. The only thing that you really need to ideally have worked on is Genesis 22 and 2 Samuel.
Okay.
You just have the majority of that translated because I'm sure you'll go through it in class and work on it some more.
Okay.
Okay. So, with that being said, there aren't any particular assignments for parsing for the strong or the weak. And so before I go through any of the through any of the workbook, then I'm gonna go through the Hophal week verbs first, and then we can go through some of those examples all together.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, so the week starts on page 377, and let's see, we don't have a whole lot, which is nice. And again, because this doesn't come up very much, you're not going to be asked for the week diagnostics, for example, on a quiz that may happen on Wednesday.
Gotcha.
Okay? You're just going to need to be able to recognize them. So for some people, being able to parse and recognize them does require that they make charts for these week verbs. And if you are those people, then do that. But don't do it because you think you're going to be asked to reproduce the diagnostic. So that is based on your comfort level. But if you have the time and that's how it works for you, then you should make diagnostic charts for absolutely everything.
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like for the one gutturals, which is on page 377, you have underneath the first consonant, and you're noticing that part of the diagnostic is a hey, much like the Hophal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So underneath the hey, or whatever prefix is there for the imperfect or the participle, is the O class vowel, which is the Kamet Satuf.
Mm-hmm.
And the perfect and imperfect basically then look exactly the way that you expect it to. It has the O class vowel, and it has the Pathak, which is the diagnostic for Hophal strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's the participle that has a slight variation. It has the Kamet Hatuf underneath the mem, but instead of a Pathak, it has a Kamet. Actually, that is the same. Just kidding.
Yeah, that's the same as in the strong.
So all you really need to know for one gutturals is that they take the O class.
Okay.
Okay. And for third hey, which is on the next page, which is 378, they also take the O class. And just like all the rest of the third hey verbs that you've had up to this point, they have those third hey endings, which look different than the endings and have different vowels than the endings of the strong verbs that you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
But by now, you are so comfortable with those third hey endings that it won't even bother you. And for the people that it does bother because they got that wrong on the parsing section, they're going to go back through the third hey endings this week, so it doesn't bother them any longer. Okay? Because, again, the third hey endings, they are different. And they're always going to be different. But they all follow the same pattern because they're all third hey, no matter what the derived stem. So you could commit those to memory. You could even make another chart for yourself if that would help.
Mm-hmm.
I think that chart is back in the PL chapter, maybe the NIFAL chapter, but either way, it's there, and you could copy it, and you would be good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the next one, other than that, it's the same. So then the next one you have is on 379, which is the first noon. And so what you need to know about this one is that they take the U class diagnostic, so it's going to have the kibbutz instead of the Kamet Hatuf. And the nun assimilates. This is one of the derived stems where the nun goes away. But when it goes away, what shows up in the second stem vowel?
Double dot.
Exactly. Because the nun was like this, and then it just curled itself into a ball right into the next consonant. Got all freaked out. So it went like this, and went really small, right into the next consonant. See?
There we go.
All of these visuals You're welcome.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. So what else? But the rest of it stays the same. Okay, you just have the Nin curling into a ball, and you have the U class. Okay? Then you have Yoda's lightsaber verbs. Same as with the Hophal and the Nifal. The Yod is going to extend down into a lightsaber.
Gotcha.
And so that lightsaber is actually also taking the place of your diagnostic vowel, because the lightsaber now has a dot in it, so it's like a shurek. So that is a U class vowel.
Okay.
It's like the lightsaber like beamed right at that kibbutz, and kibbutz is gone, and so now it's a shurek.
There you go.
There you go. And then the second diagnostic vowel, the pathak and or the comets, stays the same. And the last one that you have to know is the bicon, which is on page 381. And the bicon actually looks just like it kind of looks like the Yoda lightsaber verbs, except all that's happening is that kibbutz is turning into a shurek, and then you just have the way that a verb looks in the cow when it's a bicon. That's how it's going to look in the Hophal.
Cool.
Okay, so the way that you would tell the difference then, if you're dealing with a cow bicon or with a Hophal, is going to be the hey shurek in front of it. Good?
Yeah.
Good. And looks like actually the geminates, which are on page 382, they look the same as the bicons. So how are you going to be able to tell if you have a geminate or if you have a bicon?
Knowing vocabulary?
Yep. That's it. I mean, that's really the only way that you're going to be able to do it. So you need to know.
A list of geminate verbs.
I don't have a list of those. I don't think that there are a whole lot. The two that I can think of off the top of my head are savav and lavav.
Gotcha.
There may be more. I can, at some point this week, see if I can come up with a list of geminates and bicons for you.
Gotcha.
What was the difference again?
Between geminates and bicons?
Yeah, the two letters or?
Oh, I'm telling you that they look the same. And
Okay.
so you need to know your vocab. So the bicons are the verbs that have the medial vowel letter.
Yeah.
And do you remember what the options are for medial vowel letters?
You have the Shrek, you have the Holam Bob, and Hirokyo?
Yep.
Wait, yeah, Hirokyo.
So those, if you have a vocab word that has one of those three vowel letters in the middle, that's a bicon. And then the geminates are the ones that have two of the same consonants side by side. So
Right.
like savav is samak bait bait.
Okay.
And in the Hophal, when you're parsing them out, they look pretty much identical, so you just need to know your vocab well enough
What was the
to know
other?
what you're dealing with.
What was the other geminate that you said popped into mind?
Lavav,
Which is
lamed
Lamed.
bait.
Lame bait bait.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So that is everything. for weak and strong.
Cool.
All right. So then we're going to go to the workbook. And Hophal stems strong verbs. We're just going to parse, I think. I'm just going to go with you the first page, which is on page 255. Okay? And then the rest of them you can go through for practice.
Cool.
And then we'll go through some of the weak ones, just probably up to 10 or so. Okay? What's that? Page 261 to 262 has a combination of parsing from all of the stems from Cal through Hophal. So that page would be a good page to practice. So you can remember that there's more than one stem that you have the option of choosing.
261?
Yeah, it starts on
Okay.
page 261
I got it.
to 262.
Yeah.
I think there are 25 of them, and they're from all of the stems.
Cool.
Okay, let's start on page 255. And let's see, it's 507. I'm done at 6. Okay, I'm going to do this probably till about 10 to 6. And then, or if it's faster, it's faster. But then at that point, I'm going to stop with the parsing and we're going to do some translating.
Cool.
Okay? All right. So, Sharon, will you do the first one?
255?
Yes, please.
It feel perfect. 3MS
Mm-hmm.
from Pakad. Or
Yeah.
Pakad.
Mm-hmm.
And the prefix is the hey and the correct.
Right. Good. Okay, so Matt, then you can do number 2.
All right. So that is going to be the Hophal. Going to be an O class perfect
Mm-hmm.
and a 3MS.
Yep.
Do we need to mention that it's O class when we're parsing?
No, you don't need to put it there.
And the lexical form is going to be the same as above.
Right.
And the prefix is the and the commits.
Mm-hmm. Good. So what's number 3, Sharon?
Okay. Number 3 is okay. Okay. It is. Yes. All right. Just want to verify. It is the Hophal.
Mm-hmm.
Almost got tricked up there. The U class,
Uh-huh.
and it is a participle,
Yes.
and it is masculine plural,
Yeah.
and it's the same lexical form. God.
Right.
Its prefix is the mem with the caboose, and then it has the eam at the ending. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. You said that you almost got tripped up, and I'm wondering if it was where I think it was. With
It
that.
was. I just looked at the. No, I just trying to. I haven't wrapped the diagnostics in my head, or not really hard, but just
Yeah.
not. So looking at that caboose, just automatically want to go to the pual.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, but the pual has the schwa
Under
and
the mem.
right, and then under the mem, and the pual is under the first consonant. So I mean the caboose is under the first consonant. So I just gotta. That's all.
Right.
I just haven't wrapped my mind around the diagnostics yet. So it just when you see the caboose, you just automatically want to go to pual. So I'm good.
Good. Yeah, that's right. And that's what I was thinking that you probably got confused on because the kibbutz is normally so it's just hardly ever there. And so the first thing you want to think is pual because that's where you've had it before. And it is, those two are very similar. It is just where the kibbutz is. So if the kibbutz is under the mem, then that's the Hophal. And if it's under the first consonant, then that's the pual. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So then, Matt, we do number 5. No, 4. Let's do 4. Let's not skip it.
The 4 is going to be the Hophal. It's going to be a participle, masculine, plural.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have the same lexical form as above. And it is going to have the prefix of mem pathak and a suffix of harek yod mem.
Yep. Then now we can do number 5. Go ahead, Sharon.
Number 5 is that 5.
Every week I'm blessed because Ron always gets the hard ones.
Make me work for my money.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is a week. What is this? Pension. Shut up. Third hay.
Look at that. Look at number 5. And
It's a third hay.
first, well, wait, before you get there, tell me first the prefix that you have.
The hay in the you're right.
Right. And so that prefix tells you what?
It's Hophal.
Mm-hmm. Then the other thing with the other diagnostic of the Hophal that you're looking for is what?
Oh, the harek and the yod.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So cover up the prefix of the hirek and the hay and the hirek, and you have the hirek yod in the middle right there. But what are the 3 consonants that you have?
Shalom. Oh,
Right.
Shin, Lamed, Mem.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you know it's not a third hay.
Right.
And so you have your lexical form. You have that it's Hophal. And now go from there and parse the rest of it.
Gotcha. So it is Hophal. 3FS. Oh, I'm sorry. Perfect 3FS.
Right.
And the word is Shalom.
Right.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, do number 6, Matt.
Hey. Is that going to be a Hophal perfect
Mm-hmm.
3FS
Mm-hmm.
and as I don't think I can improve on what Sharon did. It's going to be a shin, a lamed, and a mem.
Yep.
Uh, consonants, and then that has a ha prefix and a ah suffix.
Good. All right. Then
All right, Hophal,
for 7.
yes,
Yep.
imperfect. 3 MS, and it again is shalom,
Mm-hmm.
and its suffix is the yod patah, and the then of course the Hirak and the yod is from the Hophal
Right.
diagnostic.
Right. Good. So then what's number 8, Matt?
This is so. Let me look at this for a minute.
Okay. This
Uh,
is a good one.
because
Yeah.
it's above consecutive,
Right.
it is a Hophal imperfect. Above consecutive.
Mm-hmm.
3 MS.
Yeah. Did you say the stem yet?
Hophal.
Hiphil. Okay. Yeah.
And same lexical form. The prefix is going to be the vav, and the yod with the tak,
Yep.
dot the yod, and the suffix. So yeah,
Good. So I have a question for you.
sure.
How come you said it was Hiphil, but how come there is a serif instead of a Hirak yod?
I was just about to ask that.
Because it does that when you add the vav consecutive
Right.
because of the vowels.
Because that's what Hiphil does when you add the Bob consecutive. That's the reason that there's a seri there instead of a Hirak yod.
Yeah.
So that did throw some people off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that because it routinely throws people off, it will routinely appear on quizzes. Okay?
Roger.
Does that make sense?
Right, that makes a ton of sense.
Yes, 'cause I was about to ask that question.
Yeah, it's just the Bob consecutive. You add the Bob consecutive to it, and it changes the Hirak yod ending.
Okay.
Not ending, diagnostic.
Mhm.
All right, great. Then what's number 9, Sharon?
Hophal, imperfect, 1 CS.
Mm-hmm.
And the lexical form is sakal.
Yes.
And the prefix is the alaf and the patak, and then it has a diagnosis of the Hirak yod.
You're right. Good.
What was the lexical form on that one again?
Sakal with the sin,
Yeah.
kof, wait, kaf, and lamed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Hold on.
Okay. Then, Matt, will you do number 10?
Certainly.
Thank you.
That is going to be a Hophal imperfect. And that is a one CS. And the lexical form is the same above. The prefix is the aleph with the attack,
Mhm.
and the suffix is ha or ah. Comments. Hey.
Bless you.
Now that comments hey that's there. What is that? Why is it there?
Um. There's doesn't the comments hey randomly appear to mark that something is imperfect? No, it's a directional ending.
It's feminine.
Is it a directional ending or could it be a pronominal suffix?
Phenomenal suffix. Definitely.
Yeah. The pronominal suffix means, is it to them plural? Is it them plural?
Mm-hmm. Now, hold on 1 second. Let me just.
Or is it to, it's to them feminine or to her? Or to you?
Right.
What? It's to a lady. It's like I don't know if it's a group of them or, let's see. It's 3FS. That would be a third person feminine singular. The to her, that's her. So that'd be
Let me.
Rachel, her. Or she, Rachel's.
Okay. So
So,
what
but
does the
it's
cow mean?
it's going to be
To consider.
cause to consider. So Hophal and not Hophal. So she causes to consider.
So it would be. So if you're saying that it's imperfect and it's Hophal.
She causes. Okay. I cause her to.
Yes.
I cause her to consider.
I caused.
To consider her?
Yeah, I caused to consider her because her. If there's a pronominal suffix at the end of a verb, then that is the object of the verb. So I is your subject, caused to consider her.
How do you know it's not I cause her to consider?
Because then you would be making her the subject of the verb.
Mhm.
And the verb goes with the subject that's in your prefix. And so if you were to take off the pronominal suffix, it would be I cause to consider.
Right.
And so to add the her, I still have to be considering.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
I cause to consider doesn't make.
Yeah, it's not a great it's not an easy English
Right.
translation option, but that would be literally what it would say.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Ow.
Okay.
So what's number 11, Sharon?
Number 11 is. There's a lot of hip fills here. Hip fill. And it is imperfect. Uh-oh. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that one. Dun, dun, dun. 3CP. And the word is sakal. I'm sorry. It's not sakal. It is shalak.
Right. So what's your prefix?
Long form. Prefix is the hey and the hey and the correct.
Uh-huh.
And the suffix is the shrek.
Right. Okay. You want to go to weak parsing?
Sure.
Okay. Weak parsing. I'm just going to do like the first 10 of them. Starts on page 259.
Okay.
So Matt, you can do number 1.
All right. I'm gonna have to stare at this one for a second.
That's fine. Stare away.
I know it's a week. That's all I know. I feel.
It is weak. You are correct.
Week. Is that a Hophal?
Is it?
That's got to be a Hophal.
I like where your head's at. Keep going.
Um. And then that's got to be a Hophal. It's got to be a first guttural.
Mm-hmm.
And so, first guttural Hophal. And so, that is going to be the perfect.
Yeah.
And 3MS. The lexical form is going to be ion, mem, daleth.
Mm-hmm.
And the prefix is going to be the hey, the goal,
Yeah.
and there's not a suffix.
Right. How would you translate that?
So that's going to be Hophal perfect. So that is going to be positive action and an active voice.
Right.
So what does ameth mean anyway?
What does that mean anyway?
To
Let me look
stand.
that up.
What was that?
I'm
To
looking
stand.
To stand.
to
You got a
stand.
lifeline.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's going to be he caused to stand.
Yep.
Cool.
Good. So Sharon, then what's number 2?
Number 2 is the Hophal. Perfect. Imperfect.
Yeah.
3MS.
Mm-hmm.
Same lexical form.
Yeah.
Ahmad. And I believe that would be he will be caused to stand.
Do you need the to be verb?
He will cause to stand.
There you go.
There.
If it was Hophal, you need to put the to be verb in there.
Okay.
But it's Hophal.
Okay.
Okay, number 3.
All right. So I'm trying to see. Is that a Vav consecutive? There's a Vav consecutive,
Mm-hmm.
and That's going to be a Hophal.
Yeah.
And that is going to be imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
3 ms.
Yeah.
Lexical is above. So the prefix is the vav, and the yod attack
Mm-hmm.
with the doubling dot. So that would be E. Wait,
Okay.
that will be, so that's the same as the above, except it's got the vav consecutive.
Right.
So that's going to be, and he caused to stand.
Right, because the Vav consecutive does what to the translation?
It makes imperfect perfect and perfect imperfect.
Right. Good.
All right. Good job.
All right. So, Sharon, what's number 4?
Sean, what is number 4? All right. I wasn't done. So diagnostics tell me that it is imperative. Oh, Hophal, imperative, 2ms. Yes. Or it could be infinitive absolute.
Okay. I see what you're saying. And you're right. So if it was infinitive absolute, do you need to include anything else in the parsing?
No.
Good.
The prefix is the hey and the pata.
Mm-hmm. Good. So also, if you had a translation, how would you be able to tell if it was an imperative or an infinitive absolute?
From the context of whatever the context of whatever the sentence is. From context.
Context, what else?
I don't know.
Oh, isn't an infinitive absolute, isn't it always beside another verb?
Right. You'd have to have, if for it to be an infinitive absolute, you'd have to have it side by side with that same verb in a different form, right? Because what does the infinitive absolute do?
It intensifies.
Right. But it can't intensify anything if there's nothing there to intensify.
Correct.
Because it doesn't technically have its own translation value. What is its translation value?
To do something intensely.
No, you. I mean, yes, but you add the word surely or certainly.
Surely.
Right.
Verily, verily.
Verily, surely, certainly, all that.
Oh.
Okay. So yes, context, but very specifically, you're going to either have two of the same verb side by side, and one of them is going to be an infinitive absolute, or you're going to have the verb and it's going to look just like that, just like number 4, and it's going to be by itself, and so it's going to have to be an imperative.
Cool.
And our lovely friend, Kate Hendrickson, has just phoned in an answer for us because she's a couple minutes behind us. She's watching it, but not live, which is really cool. I didn't know you could do that. But on number 10 on page 255, Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
And we were saying it was a pronominal suffix.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was saying it was a pronominal suffix. She so kindly pointed out that that's not right, which is good because I would have just steered you wrong. It's actually the comite of a cohortative. See, I always forget cohortatives and gessives.
Me too.
Let that be a
There's
lesson to us
something up
all.
about that.
Every single
Forget
time.
your
Thanks,
cohortatives
Kate.
or your gessives. And say, thank you, Kate.
Thank
I
you.
did. But I'll say it again. Thank you, Kate.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, so now that we're all on the same page with that finally. How about number 5, Matt?
Wow.
Number 5 gonna be one second.
I will wait.
Is that also gonna be a infinitive, Hophal infinitive construct? That's gonna be a Hophal infinitive construct.
Uh-huh. You're right. It kind
And
of looks like, before you keep going, I'm going to cut you off, sorry. It kind of looks like the same diagnostics, though, as a Hophal imperative. So how do I know it's not that?
because of the hey,
Hmm.
like hey is not a imperative prefix.
It is for the Hophal. The hey pathak for imperative, you're thinking of participle.
The hierarchical, the diagnostic.
Right. The diagnostic
Oh,
here
yes.
is there in some of the imperatives, but which imperatives have the hierarchios?
Just 2FS and 2MP.
Right.
And infinitive
And
construct.
so what I'm saying is, even though the infinitive construct looks like it has the same diagnostics as the imperative, you'll be able to tell the difference because the imperative that would look like that would also have a suffix.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay?
Wow.
So that's how you can tell those ones apart.
Cool. It does not inflect,
Right.
and so it would be to cause to take a stand.
Right. So here's the question. Infinitive constructs don't inflect, but can they take pronominal suffixes?
Oh, most certainly.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
So if you had an infinitive construct with a pronominal suffix, what would be the thing that would tell you that you have an infinitive construct? And not, say, an imperative or something like that.
The suffixes, like it.
Right.
It,
It would still be the suffixes. So if you have an infinitive construct that also has a pronominal suffix, your inclination may be initially to think imperative,
mm-hmm.
but what you need to also remember is that the imperative has other endings as well, and those endings are still going to be there, and then you add the pronominal suffix to it.
Okay.
So if you need, and a lot of people do this on quizzes, and it really helps, like, to just block off where the lexical form is, and then you can see where the prefixes are and where the suffixes are. That will make it a lot easier for you to differentiate between whether you're looking at an infinitive construct or an imperative
Cool.
with a pronominal suffix. And then if you have a pronominal suffix, no matter what you're looking at, you're going to put that in your parsing information, right?
Right.
Good. That would be such a good idea.
Cool.
Sound good?
That was really good.
Let's see. It's 5. Okay, 10 more minutes. So what's number 6, Ron?
That will have to be Hophal. And it looks like um looks like perfect 3MS there.
Yep.
Perfect 3MS, and the prefix is the hey and the commas.
Right. Now, all of these are the same type of weak verb, so I'm tired of them, so I'm going to skip to a different one.
I'd
How
kind of go
about,
into some translations.
I'm going to start those in like 5 minutes.
Cool. Because I got to sign out in a little bit.
Oh,
I
when do
just
you
thought
want to?
I just know they're waiting on me for dinner.
Oh, okay. Then let's do this translation.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's okay.
Plans.
This will help anyway. Hold on. Hold on a second. I'm going to get this translation ready for you. While I'm writing this down, tell me what assignments you guys have for interp, so I can also be thinking about that email that I'm going to send you.
Big thing is the textual criticism exercise and the word
Okay.
study.
And then we have the word study for what is the word? Righteous? Was it righteousness?
Sadaka. It's righteousness. He always does that one.
Sadaka, yeah.
Okay.
So if you could just put your paper somewhere out there, no, it's fine.
Yeah. I just have to find it. I'm sure I have it somewhere.
So what is our test looking, our quiz looking like? I'm gonna have to hit a K on you today.
Your quiz
Yeah.
for this week.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
a lot shorter than your quiz from last week does. So
Nice.
that's fun. And it'll be a lot easier to grade because there won't be so many things to count. But you'll need to know diagnostics and some of the ones that I've been talking to you about, like, I don't know, say the NIFAL ones, which happen to show up all the time. And you're in Hophal, and Hophal is closely related to Hophal, so those will probably both show up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you also have parsing. So that's normal. And parsing will be over kind of like the last time, whereas over multiple stems, you just need to keep practicing all of the multiple stems. So like I was saying, if you did page 261, 262, that would be a good review for parsing. And the rest that's on page 256 would also be good because it goes through all of them.
Okay.
Okay.
What about translation?
There is a translation. I think it's just translating this time. So it's points per word, like I was telling you earlier as well.
Yeah.
And I just really feel like if we go through this translation together, you'll feel really prepared for the translation on the quiz.
Well.
Okay?
What about vocab?
Vocab is it's
Gonna
gonna
be in the
more
translation.
pop up in the translation that you have.
Yeah.
And potentially also in your parsing. And that's not so much vocab. That's just, do you know your lexical forms?
Right.
Right? Okay.
There are some tricksters out there.
And then the other thing to remember about diagnostics is kind of what I was telling you earlier, and what is very clear from these chapters. The Hophal has O class and U class diagnostics. So if there are two diagnostics, well, then you're probably responsible for two diagnostics. Okay?
Gotcha.
Not like a pick and choose sort of thing.
Do you would you is that expected for the Hophal too, like the two different ways? Because like last week we had the quiz and you had the line for one diagnostic. Can you still pick one or the other, or do you have to?
Yeah, if you have on a quiz where there are two diagnostics but you're only given space for one, you can just pick one.
Roger.
Okay? All right. How about this translation? And hang on a second, I'm trying to get it to focus. Looks like we can do the top two lines first.
Okay.
Okay? I guess I could lift it up. No, you still can't see, but there you go. All right, so there are the top two lines of the translation. Who can tell me where the first verb is?
Yizaku.
Yes. Can you parse that for me, Matt?
That is gonna be an imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're gonna be Cal.
Yep. Bless you.
Sorry. That'll be 3MP.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that to cry out? And so that's going to be he will cry out.
If it's 3MP, is it he?
I'm sorry, they will cry out.
There you go. So you got that. So what's Oz right before it? That first one? Can you see it?
Yeah, I see that. Oz is.
You can use your lexicon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then, formerly, since, from that time.
There you go.
So, let's see here. From that time, they will cry out.
Uh-huh. And just finish the top line.
Yahweh. From that time, they will cry out to Yahweh, and is that Lamed? Are there any vowels in that Lamed?
Hold on. I believe there are. I probably just didn't write it down. What vowel do you think would go there? Like just based on that, what a holem. And so what is that? When there is a hole in there. You're right.
And not.
Right. There you go. So you've got the first part. So from that time, they will cry out to God and not something. So go to the second line, Sharon, and what is that first word? Oh, sorry. I'm moving it a lot.
Second. I wrote mine kind of crazy, so let me make sure I'm on the right. Yeah, Anna. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Ane.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry.
is that Anna, which is to do, the verb? Okay.
Is Anna to do?
No. Answer. To answer,
Okay.
and it is a imperfect. It has the yay that I thought, so it has to be. No. Third A.
Sorry, I'm going to sit for a second.
Okay, that is Hophal imperfect.
Uh-huh.
3MS.
Right. How did you know it was Hophal?
The diagnostics of the path that, but yeah, that was it, pretty much.
Right. The path act right there
And
tells
the
you.
ending had that third hey ending on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, here's something fun that I forgot about.
What? I missed something.
What did you miss?
What is that?
Well, before I lift this back up so you can see the rest of it,
Okay.
here's something fun that I forgot about. There are two verbs, anna, spelled the exact same way. That mean two different things. So your answer for like how to translate this, you're gonna have to get the rest of the context to decide which is which, because it can either be to answer or to bend down. Okay, so just file that away, and oh my goodness, I can't get it. Oh, that's because I'm looking at the wrong line. Okay, so you have that, and you said it was Hophal imperfect 3MS, right?
Get up, Maria, and ask her if she's making it at 6. Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So
Where are we at?
if that's Hophal imperfect, and we'll just say for right now that it's to answer, how would you translate that?
Hophal is causative. Imperfect. Will cause to answer. Or if it's answer, I'm looking it up.
Mm-hmm. So if it was answer, it would be he will cause to answer. How about the next word?
Ah, Jesus. Why would they do that? Okay, I cannot. Is there a hole up there? Okay.
There is. Sorry. Can you see that a little better?
Did she hit you up? I'm sorry, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
And ask her if she's going to be there at 6 o'clock or later, because I need to know, because I need to leave now. Old Tom. Old Tom. What in the world? Am I looking for the next verb, or am I just looking at the next word?
Tell me the next word.
Okay, next word is I have no clue. Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. What?
The hint that I'll give you for this next word is pronominal suffix.
Oh, oh, oh. What is oh? Yeah. Oh,
Oh, that's not a rate.
a what?
No. That is Aleph, Holam Vav, Tau, with a comets, and a mem.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the next word.
Oh, yeah, we're not on the verb yet. We're right there in the middle.
My bad.
That's okay.
Excuse me. What? Ah, duh. Okay, four. And there's eight. Does she?
Oath? You looking at oath?
I just looked at. I took off. Um, I'm looking up. I looked up the wrong word.
Why don't you look at the back of chapter 9 where pronominal suffixes are, and they give you the difference between pronominal suffix on a direct object and a pronominal suffix on with.
I'm sorry, I'm wasting everyone's time. I'm
No, you're
trying.
not.
Oh, this is what tutoring's for.
What?
I was just telling her. No, this is what tutoring's for.
Exactly. I mean, and this hasn't come up in a while, and so I'm sure a lot of people don't remember what this is. Matt, why don't you look at the next verb while she's finding this
Okay.
and parse it? And so after she finds this, you can tell me what the next verb is.
Eight and I'm not seeing that. Try this again. What's she saying?
Sorry, I already sent it via email as you suggested.
Oh, okay, we're good then? Okay, cool. Tell her thank you. I get to stay. Yay!
Yay. So what about,
I don't see this. Let me go back to the. I'm sorry. Let me go back to where I was because I don't see it there whatsoever. I don't know if I'm
did
rushing.
you look on page 88?
I was just in chapter 9.
Huh?
Hold on, I'm going back.
Okay.
That's all.
She says I was knocked out last night and I got your message.
I don't see. What? Am I looking at the right word? The olive, Hallam, Hallam,
Yeah.
Hallam. Excuse me.
Yeah, Aleph, Holam, Vav.
Ah, oh, it's spelled differently. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the other form. Got it. So that is them.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, y'all.
That's okay.
3 and P.
Mhm.
Okay. So will we have to parse? You said pronominal suffixes too, right? Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah, but only if it's on a verb.
Okay. But yeah, that's them. Object marker. Them.
Mm-hmm.
The hold on Bob just kind of.
Right.
Okay.
So what's the next verb then, Matt?
So that would be with them, right? Or just them?
With the Holam, Vav?
No.
No, it would just be the
No.
direct object.
It's
If it was
the,
going to be with them, it would have a hierarch instead of a holum.
and it will have that doubling dot.
Right.
Okay, so that's going to be Hophal 3ms with a vav, consecutive. It's going to be imperfect, but actually it's imperfect with a vav, but not a vav consecutive.
Right.
And the reason I know that is because under the vav there's a shwa instead of a patak,
Uh-huh.
and so it's going to be and will cause to hide.
Uh-huh. Good. So let's just say this is answer. Remember, this not is up here as well, because it's the negation. So from the negation to the end of the second line, how would you put that together?
And not cause to answer them and conceal.
Right, but what's the subject? Because you said it was 3ms, so you've got to have that in there.
And he will not cause them to answer them and conceal.
So, yeah, so it would be kind of just stating everything. It would be something like and or but. He did not cause to answer them, and he caused to hide or to conceal. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So then the last line.
Wait, and he will cause to conceal,
Right,
not to conceal.
right. Sorry.
I didn't mean to be. Oh, yeah.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead.
So then the last line. What's that first word?
Fana, fana. What is the last consonant? Is that a vav?
Yep.
Fanav, fanaiv,
Knife, yeah.
fanaiv.
So what is that?
I know that word. Fana. Yeah, fana. To turn around or about. Turn aside. Okay.
Okay. I think that it's a noun with a pronominal suffix on it. So that changes that answer a little bit.
Noun suffix is he.
I'm just.
His turn.
What?
His turn.
Look in your lexicon. It's page. There it is. It's on that same page in your lexicon. It's 462. So the verb pana is to turn, but the noun is panim, and the construct form is pane, which is face.
Page what?
462 of your lexicon. Oh, not that lexicon. I'm sorry. I mean the
Yeah,
one
I
with
know.
that.
I went to go get it, but when you said the number, I was like, well, I'm just back there, so let me go back.
Yeah.
Put that word back up. I never wrote it down. I never got the last line. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
be
it's
so
okay.
demanding.
Oh, look, you can see it better when I stand anyway.
Oh yeah, very nicely done. Um, funny. Face.
Right.
Construct. Okay, got it.
The construct form with a pronominal suffix. So
His face.
his
Yeah,
face. Right.
gotta do better. Okay. The next one is made. Mayhem. Hey,
Yeah.
that's the guy on the commercials.
Right, it is. It's a
Yeah.
Geico commercial right there in the middle of your.
Yep. Favorite one is the navigation one.
Yeah, so if you just
Um,
write down Geico commercial underneath that,
you
you'll
think I get some
probably get
points?
partial credit.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Yep.
Did Matt leave?
No,
No,
Matt.
he's right there.
Oh, I can't see him. Okay. Mayhem.
This one is, it's another form that has a pronominal suffix on it.
Right.
So the pronominal
From-
suffix starts there.
right.
So what
So
would that mem be? And it looks like probably part of it is missing.
I want to say it's from
Good. You should say
them.
that.
From them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Conceal his face from them.
Yeah. So Matt,
And
what's the next word?
no, I wanted to keep going.
Okay, Sharon, what's the next word?
Before.
I know I'm slow, but
No, go for it.
It's a hard out.
I was just trying to spread it out, just have it be even, that's all.
okay. Could you buy? Okay. Buy it.
Uh-huh.
Just via phone, via recording, but peacing out.
Huh?
Oh, you're leaving?
Yeah, y'all keep going now. Y'all have fun.
Okay. Let me know if you need anything else. You can just text me.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay. Bye, Matt.
I know this one. This is buy it. I want to say buy it. Buy it. N F N. Okay. N. What is
You see that there's the B there, right?
Yeah, I got the N.
Okay. So then look for the iron tau.
Time.
Time. Yeah.
Okay. In time. And the last word is how he. That sounds weird. So definite are the he. He. That.
Yeah, that.
In time that is Is that the end of the sentence?
If you have that at the end, then the that probably needs to go with something that's in front of it.
In that time.
Right. So, can you put the whole translation together?
From that time they will cry out to Yahweh and not answer them.
And who will not answer them?
And I'm sorry, he he will not. Okay. So from that time they will cry out to Yahweh and he will not answer them.
Right.
And he will cause to conceal his face from them in that time.
Yep.
Yeah, it is answered. Yes.
You did it. How does that feel?
Need to work on my vocab. Kind of lost in some stuff in that time.
Yeah. And especially now that you're getting kind of more toward the end, some of the vocab that you had a lot more of earlier is going to start to come back up because you learned it earlier because it happens all the time in just normal Old Testament translation and vocab.
Uh-huh.
And you just didn't see it that much because you're learning all the other stuff afterwards. But now that you're getting almost the full picture of everything, all of that older stuff is going to come back up. And so you're going to need to spend more time with that vocab than you had.
Okay.
Okay?
Is there anything else we need to go over?
What?
Or should be concerned about?
Concern? No, don't be concerned. I would, those pages in the workbook that goes through all of the different parsing, you really don't have as much parsing as you did last week, but it is going to come from all of the options of stems, and so just practice them. And I would go through all of the diagnostics and just generally for everybody, write down all of your diagnostics that you know so far before you start the test or the quiz because it's just going to make all of your parsing so much easier.
Okay.
Okay? But the parsing itself is pretty straightforward. Just focus on those the weak parsing, especially the weak verbs that are pointed out in the weak chapter, the ones that we went over. Just focus on those because there are a few of them, like bicons and gymnasts, that look similar, and all that you really need there is to know your vocab well enough to be able to parse it the right way. Okay. But there's so many lightsabers in Hophal that it'll be easy to see. Okay, and then diagnostics. I would go through your participle paradigm.
Okay.
So that those vowels don't throw you off. Just go through your participle paradigm for the stem, because like if I were to ask you, for example, what the PL diagnostic for a feminine plural participle, would you be able to give me the whole diagnostic?
Should feminine plural.
Feminine plural PL participle.
Mem.
So what would you put in there?
Mem.
Yeah.
Can I cheat?
Yeah, you can cheat. I mean, just give it just an example for, you know.
Okay. So mem patat, and then I definitely have the oath at the end.
Yeah, because that would make it feminine plural, right?
Right.
Good. Then just things like that with your participles so that you know the endings and you know all the diagnostics. And then when there's two options for diagnostics, just make sure you know both of them and translate.
Roger.
All right. But this quiz should be a lot less stressful as far as length is concerned. It's only 2 pages. It's literally half the size of last week's quiz.
Still fit a lot on those 2 pages, but okay.
Yes, you can fit a lot on those 2 pages, but not any more than what I just told you.
Gotcha.
All right. Do you have any questions or concerns or unexpected joys?
I think I'm good. Just go back over the pages. You said pages 256, 261, and 262 are good review for parsing.
Yeah. Those are really good reviews. And then if you have any questions on any of them, you can call me or text me or Facebook me or email me. I mean, yeah, any of those things are options. I don't really love email. I like all of the other options a lot better. But
Okay. Well, you did good on the email today with the extra subject information and all that stuff, so it was great.
good. See, I like to send the email. I just don't. I feel like I'm a lot slower at responding than sending.
Okay. I can understand that.
But if it's a text, then I can respond within like the hour, especially if I'm in class.
Mhm. Okay. I think I am good. I'm hoping everybody else is good. So
I hope
thank
so.
you for your time. Have a good one. Bye.
Later.